All right, so today we're diving into a document called the January Docket. And I've got to tell you, this is not your average read. It's not a novel, it's not some work of fiction. Instead, what we have here is presented as something way, way more serious: the public record of a formal criminal complaint that was filed with the U.S. Department of Justice. And it is packed with hundreds of pages of just explosive legal allegations.
And wow, it does not pull any punches. Right out of the gate, from the very first page, the author just sets the stakes incredibly high with this quote. This isn't being framed as some simple legal disagreement. No, this is being presented as a full-blown indictment of what he calls a systemic, profound betrayal of American law itself. Okay, so what are we actually looking at here? According to the author, this isn't just him telling a story or writing a book. He is presenting this document as a very specific and, he argues, a very powerful legal tool, filed with an extremely serious purpose in mind. And here's the crucial thing you gotta get. The author is adamant that this is the real deal, the public version of his formal criminal complaint. In it, he straight up accuses judges and other officials of conspiring to block justice. So he's kind of making his case on two fronts at the very same time, one to the public and one directly to the Department of Justice. So, who's the person making these frankly incredible claims? His name is Reynaldo J. Aguiar Marcano. The document says he's a recognized political refugee and, get this, a former Google engineer who specialized in large-scale data analysis. And that detail is pretty important because he claims he used those exact skills to uncover all the evidence he's about to lay out. You know, every huge, complex story has a beginning. And for this one, well, according to the complaint, it all starts not in some big federal courthouse, but with something deeply personal, a family dispute that he says just spiraled completely out of control. So here's how the complaint lays it out. On March 28, 2025, his son is taken from the family home. He says he tries to report the child missing, but, and this is a huge allegation, the deputy on the scene refuses to even take a report and apparently admits to already being in contact with his former partner. Then, the very next morning, the child is put on an indefinite leave from school, which the author claims was only possible because of that same deputy's direct involvement. Okay, now we're going to get into the weeds a little bit, because this is the real technical heart of his whole complaint. This is where he argues that what happened wasn't just, an unfair result. He's claiming it was the outcome of a deliberate, calculated deception aimed at the justice system itself. And he has a very specific legal name for it. And that name is fraud on the court. Now, this isn't just about one side lying to the other. It's a way more serious accusation. It means you're claiming that an officer of the court, like a lawyer, intentionally tricked the judge and the system to completely corrupt the outcome. It's like accusing a referee of secretly working for the other team to throw the entire game. So this right here, this is what the author calls his Exhibit A, and it's a huge piece of his argument. He claims this document, which is titled a Notice of Entry, was filed specifically to mislead the appeals court. He argues that while it looks all official, like a final order has been entered, it was actually just a notice about a future hearing date. A smokescreen, basically. And boom, what's the alleged result? Just 4 days after that notice of entry was filed, the Court of Appeals dismisses his petition. The complaint claims the court was tricked by Exhibit A into thinking the whole issue was moot, which is just a legal way of saying it's too late to do anything about this. And the author argues that was the entire point of that first document. But wait, there's more. He then lays out what he calls a void order. He claims it went down in 3 steps. First, he files a motion to get the judge thrown off the case, to recuse him, which he argues legally stops that judge from doing anything else. Second, he alleges that after that motion was already filed, the opposing lawyer went and got the judge to sign an order anyway. And the kicker, step 3, he says the court's own record showed this new order was officially entered after his recusal motion, making it, in his eyes, totally illegitimate. So you're probably wondering, right, why would anyone allegedly go through all these complicated legal hoops over a family dispute? Well, this is where the author's complaint just explodes in scope. He claims the fraud wasn't really about the family case at all. He says it was all a cover to stop him from filing a much, much bigger federal lawsuit and to protect a massive criminal enterprise. And this number is at the very heart of that bigger claim. 20,000. Let that sink in. According to the author, the real motive for sabotaging his family court case was to cover up a gigantic illegal surveillance operation targeting more than 20,000 U.S. citizens.
So here's how he connects the dots in the complaint. The alleged court fraud was just a tactic to stop him from filing a huge class action lawsuit. And the evidence for that lawsuit? He says it comes from a database leaked by, of all places, Venezuelan intelligence. He claims this database exposes a huge illegal surveillance network that has direct ties to a narco-terrorist organization. And as you can probably guess, the allegations just keep escalating. The author's legal strategy builds and builds until it culminates in literally one of the most serious accusations a person can make in the entire U.S. legal system. This is where he takes his complaint from court corruption all the way up to national security. And here it is. This isn't a summary, this is the actual court filing, where he puts all his cards on the table. Listen to this title: Emergency Verified Notice of Ongoing Conspiracy to Commit Terrorist Acts and Treason. Inside this document, he's not just hinting at things. He formally accuses the other parties of giving aid and comfort to enemies of the United States, and he even cites the federal statute for treason. I mean, it just does not get more serious than that. So, where does all this leave us? The January Docket lays out this extraordinary, almost unbelievable set of claims, all supposedly backed up by hundreds of pages of legal filings. And it really forces you to ask a fundamental question. Are we looking at the meticulous record of a whistleblower exposing a profound level of corruption? Or is this a sprawling, intricate conspiracy theory that was born out of a bitter legal fight? The document itself can't give us that verdict. It's just one man's detailed and explosive story, submitted for the record, now in the hands of the Department of Justice.